Imagine Kate with blue hair. That's it. That's my intro line this week.
I'm imagining it. I'm on board.
Yeah. That's... The reason that's my intro line this week is because there's been this box of hair dye on our coffee table for like the past 3 days, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's come from. This is not a reveal of I'm about to dye my hair blue again, by the way, guys. But it's just the model on the box really looks like Kate.
Oh, she does.
Don't you think?
I didn't think that at all. No, I like briefly mentioned in passing that I was thinking about dyeing my hair, and then Mum just like came downstairs with that.
Standard.
And she was like, here you go.
We have I'd say a whole rainbow of hair dye colours just in the house.
Just under the sink.
Knocking around. Yeah. That's what happens when you live in this household. But yeah, I think she really looks like Kate, and I was like, I can see it for her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think she'd look really good. And, you know, it would have been way better than that weird blonde wig.
The hair dye that gets rid of a wig.
The hair dye that gets rid of a wig situation.
Yeah, it would have been better if she'd gone blue.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say it would be a risk because it'd make her more distinctive, but actually that's probably a good thing in a sense, isn't it? Because it's like, if someone came around asking, like, have you seen this woman? You'd be like, well, the guest had neon blue hair. It's like distracts from the face.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. You'd have to, because it's like, I often think this, that I could never commit a crime.
Yeah.
Because I look so distinctive, so everyone would immediately be able to find me out straight away.
Yeah, I think similar things.
Do you?
Or I'm like, if I got, like, kidnapped, I've got a really distinct outfit on. So I'm showing up on CCTV cameras and stuff, you know?
It works the other way. Yeah, if you're a victim of a crime, it's quite good. Because people will be able to notice.
Know who you are, yeah.
But yeah, no perpetrating crimes for us, I think. It is
ruins
a shame.
my weekend plans.
It is a shame, you know? But, you know, that's the cross that we have to bear. It
always just makes me think about, though, when Dad always used to say if he ever, like, was on the run, he'd just shave his head.
Yeah.
Because our dad has, like, big curly hair like me, and he's got, like, a big beard, and he'd always be like, if I ever had to be on the run, I would just shave my head to the skin and then shave off my beard, and then no one would find me.
This is the thing. You've got to either look undistinctive and then become distinctive, or get rid of the distinctive feature.
Yeah.
Post-crime. I feel like we should clarify our dad is also not committing crimes.
He's not committing crimes. No, that was actually in reference to the TV show Hunted.
Yes, there's a TV show in the UK called Hunted, which is basically like... How would you describe the premise?
It's like ordinary people go on the run, and then like MI5 track them.
Track normal people for some reason.
And the point is, I guess, to like show off all the technology they have.
I guess,
and it's
I don't
like,
really know.
Let's see if these 30 people can go on the run and not get caught by ours. And then there's like 15 people on the run initially, and then usually only like 3 or 4 are there by the end, and they have to like get on a boat or something, and if they get on the boat they win loads of money.
Thing is, it's entertaining, but when you sit down and analyse it, it's like, why do we find that entertaining?
Yeah, it is a bit weird,
As
but
viewers.
it is a very good show. I
good.
don't know if it's still going, actually.
I think so. We've not watched it in a long time because they started doing celebrity versions and we just couldn't be
Yeah,
arsed.
well, the celebrity version is like total bullshit because it's like celebrities
They're
are famous, so you can go around and ask people, have you seen Gemma Collins? And they're going to be like, yes. Like, the point is that it's about people who can blend into the background. But there was a really good one of a guy who was like a Freemason, and he just used like the network.
I forgot about
He just like, they just had so many people's houses they could stay in, and they did really well because they were just like, well, we just get the Freemason network. It's really good because often the people you least expect to be good are like really good. And we used to say Dad should go on it because he used to have like a shitty like Nokia phone that didn't even have a camera, and it was just like buttons, and we were like, he's got no internet presence.
There's no way of tracking him.
He just wouldn't take his phone with him. He just like, he would, he's like, he goes like, he's went like backpacking, and he used to do like camping, and he can sail. We were like, he'd be fine. He'd just go find like a forest somewhere.
He's very much that kind of, you know, that kind of genre of man. Well, it's not just men, I think, but there is a specific genre of middle-aged man who are just like, my dream is to live in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, the ideal
desperate for like
scenario.
a reason to go off the grid.
Yes, it's to go off the grid.
It's very John Locke.
He is a little John Locke.
Like, I think our dad would thoroughly enjoy a walkabout.
He would definitely sign up to the walkabout.
Not the hunting part, though, because he is vegetarian. But he would.
Otherwise, yeah. That kind of, like, tracking through the wilderness with only the compass on your back.
Yeah,
and
he'd
the
enjoy
Swiss
it.
Army knife between your teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's his kind of idea. Whereas, like, for me, that sounds like a literally horror movie. Like, the nightmare scenario. I mean,
it sounds alright. I wouldn't sign up for it, but I wouldn't have a good time.
So the idea of backpacking where you just kind of go and get on a train.
It's the go with the flow energy that I don't like about like that kind of vibe, that kind of travelling. I'm like, I can't just go with the flow.
No.
I need to know where I'm going and when it's happening.
Yeah. It's like I went to my friend's birthday party recently, and she's very much a go with the flow person. She has been backpacking. She did like a solo trip around Italy. I'm like, you're mad. Anyway, she on the invitation she said arrive an hour before sunset.
And wear your prettiest clothes.
She did. And I private messaged her like, no, but what time do you actually want me to arrive though? And she's like 6:30. I was like, thank you. Was it that hard?
I've been having this conversation though, because like my friends were having a get together, and without me, this was a separate thing. Not without me. I was in.
We're calling you out on our podcast, Velvet's friend.
I was in Manchester. They were in York. It wasn't like I wasn't invited, but it was like it started at like 8, and one of my friends arrived, texted me at like 7:45, being like, "I've just arrived at the place, no one else is here." And then the guy who was hosting came down and he was like, I knew it would be you because no one else would be this early. And the others didn't arrive till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was like, come on, starts at 8, get there at 8.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on the thing. Sometimes you want to be cool and show up a bit late.
No, it's never cool to be late.
It's always cool to be late.
It's not cool to be late.
No, I'm someone who is like arrive on time, and I know that that's not cool. It's cool to arrive late.
Yeah, but I don't think it's cool. If I was having a party and people were arriving like an hour in, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Get here on time.
A party?
Yeah.
The whole point is that people drop in halfway through the night.
Nope. Arrive on time. If I say it starts at 7,
oh my God, you
should be there at 7.
Why? Because you got past the parcel plan for 7:15.
Exactly, we're chock-a-block. We've got plans.
We're doing pin the tail of the donkey, 7:25 precisely.
Exactly. Dinner at 7:30 after we finish pin the tail of the donkey.
Jelly and ice cream at 8:21.
8:25. And then everyone's out of the house, and then party bags and out the door, shoes on, 9 o'clock. I always think an event like that also, it needs to have an end time. If I'm hosting, if I'm at someone else's
time.
If I'm at someone else's house.
Oh my God, you're a nightmare.
If I'm at someone else's house and it's like go with the flow, whatever. But if I'm like having people over in the daytime, there needs to be like an end point, because I'm like, I don't want you here all night.
Well, I guess, yeah, you kind of like expectation is everyone's home for tea.
Yeah, if it's like an evening function, it's like people are coming over for dinner, there's no end time for that, apart from like, I will kick you out if I want to go to bed. But like, if it's like a... Although one time I did just start getting ready for bed while my friends were over. I did...
Passive-aggressively getting ready for bed. Oh, time to turn in soon, I think.
It was like I was dyeing everyone's hair, so we were using the shower, right? And then I was like, is everyone done with the shower? And they were like, yeah, we're just like drying our hair, whatever. Dyeing people's hair. And so I just got in the shower and like washed my hair.
Just got in the shower while you were guests.
Yeah. They were all in my room like drying their hair or whatever. And then I just put my pajamas on.
Oh my God.
And like dried my hair, and then I was like cutting hair after I'd done my own, and then everyone left and I got straight into bed.
I was gonna say, did they take the unsubtle hint?
I mean, I they were all saying we need to leave soon, it's like midnight. So I was like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna start getting ready for bed while you guys get your shit sorted, because otherwise I'm gonna go to bed late.
Well, that's sometimes kind of the, deal that you make when you're hosting. It's like, I'm gonna go to bed late.
I never want to go to bed late. An ideal evening, I am in bed before 10 p.m. That's the goal, that's ideal. One time, recently, the other week, I had an evening to myself, I was in bed, I checked my phone, 8:26.
You're joking.
8:26 p.m.
8:26, you were in bed?
I was in bed, teeth brushed, pajamas on.
Wow!
And then I laid in bed and I watched 3 hours of Severance.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna watch a load of TV...
Yeah, well, because I'm like, if I'm having an evening to myself, why am I gonna sit downstairs with the TV on watching something when I could be doing it in bed?
Because it's a bit nicer to watch it on the TV, isn't it?
Is it?
Bigger
Not
screen.
our TV. Our TV sucks.
Well, our TV does stretch
Our living room's
everybody.
kind of miserable. So, like, I'd rather be in bed.
The male living space. We've not talked about the male living space on the podcast.
We've not
have
really.
we?
It started out incredibly. When we first moved into the house, it was a white table
Yep.
with a shitty TV and a DVD player we bought for $4.99 from a cash converters.
Yeah, we did.
Stack
indeed.
of DVDs, most of which were lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a beanbag, a fold-out chair, and a dryer. And we used to, it's also, crucially, freezing in there. And so we used to put our laundry on so that we could dry stuff in the evening while we were watching TV, so it would be warm in there.
It was so bleak, honestly.
It was insane.
It was bleak.
It was terrible.
We called it the male living space because it was giving, like, you know...
The subreddit of, like,
yeah.
all the, like, air mattresses on the floor and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Rate my setup. And
Yeah.
It's just like a Xbox controller in a white room. Yeah.
The best part was when we were watching the new season of Umbrella Academy and we couldn't get it on my laptop. And we couldn't hook it up to the TV. We only had it on my phone. And so we shuffled really close to the white table and propped the phone up against the TV and then watched it on the phone.
We were so desperate at that point.
This is when we, like, didn't have Wi-Fi.
didn't have
When we first
Wi-Fi.
moved in, the Wi-Fi wasn't hooked up, which is why we bought so many DVDs, because we were like, we want to watch stuff. And it was just like, we would go to the library in the daytime and I would sit, Ariel would do like actual work and I would sit next to her in the library doing my Duolingo and messaging my friends, and then I would download a bunch of stuff off of Netflix and then I would just like go on TikTok and I'd be like, this is my internet time.
Internet time, yeah.
And then we'd go home and we'd watch
it was crazy.
Netflix on my
it
phone.
felt like we were in 2004, you know? Like
It really
going to an
did.
internet cafe.
It felt a bit like this is how it's supposed to be viewed, you know? This is how
yeah.
it's meant to be watched.
Yeah. God, I remember being like so kind of stressed and upset about our living situation at the time, and like, because this was the first time that we were kind of like living away from our parents together, you know?
Yeah, like properly. Like previously it'd always been in like halls.
Yeah, and it was like, it was really stressful, you know, we were having to deal with landlords and like, yeah, we had no Wi-Fi, we were ringing up the energy company, like, can you send us a router? And they were like, it's gonna be 2 weeks, and we were like, what?
And they were like, we'll email you, and we were like, don't email us, we don't
email
have
me.
internet.
I do not have access to the internet. And we were just so stressed that like one evening we just went, let's put on our favourite episode of Lost, and we just watched it.
We watched a random episode in the middle of season 4 just for fun. And if you've watched the show, I'm sure you know which episode we're talking about.
I'm sure. Which is objectively the best episode of the show, and that's the one that we watched.
We sat with
We
our
cried.
knockoff Maryland cookies. And the dryer whirring in the background. And that
Yeah.
was when I took Wide Saeed, who we talked about last week.
Yes, White Saeed!
He was on my lock screen.
Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, we went on a bit of a
Should we talk
tangent
about the
there.
episode?
Yeah, we got extremely derailed. How long have we been
It's been
yapping?
17 minutes.
17 minutes of
Honestly, I
yapping.
thought it'd be longer. I thought I was going to check that and it was going to say like 35.
Welcome to Lost All Caps, everybody.
I'm Velvet.
And I'm Ariel.
And this is Exodus Part 2.
Yes, episode
24.
24. Series 1, episode 24, episode 25 of Lost All Caps.
Excitingly, in this episode, we have John's big speech makes a comeback.
Yes.
And if you are a Lost veteran, you will know this is not the only time.
honestly, the previously on for this episode is like the two bangers of John's speech and you have three options.
They've attacked us, sabotaged us, murdered us. We're not the only people on this island and we all know it.
Followed immediately by, you have three choices. Run, fight, or die. Which also comes up on...
all the time.
I think it's all the three parts of this finale.
Yeah,
I think.
and then first episode of season 2 as well.
Does it?
I think it is. Yeah, because it's like a recap of what happened. That's really long. That previously.
Well,
on.
obviously it's gonna be, isn't it?
Because it's basically
like,
recapping
hey,
the season.
The whole season happened. Just in case you weren't aware, you're coming into
I mean,
it.
that was kind of like the previously on the last episode was kind of like a recap of the whole season,
It was a
wasn't
little
it?
bit, yeah.
I remember I said in that episode, because it was in translation, I was like, it feels like a really rogue point for that to be. Like, I know that speech really well, and if you'd asked me when it was, I would not have said it was when Sun reveals she speaks English.
Yeah. That seems wild. Anyway, we've talked
Side
about
note,
that at length.
One of my best friends is watching Lost at the minute because I finally managed to convince him. He's a really big fan of Saeed. It's great. I got a message the other night that just said,
do we want to do a little hello if you're listening?
Oh yeah, hi Mars, if you're listening to me, I'm talking about you.
Hi Mars. Why didn't you invite Velvet to your hangout that started at 8 p.m. precisely?
Mars wasn't there either. Mars wasn't there either, he was also in Manchester. Yeah, hi Mars, if you're listening, this is about you. I just got a message that just said, Sun speaks English? Since when? And I was like, are you by any chance watching House of the Rising Sun? And he was like, I hate Jin so much. I was like, I know. And he was like, Saeed's great though. And I love Kate. And I was like, yay.
You'll get there. He'll get there.
He'll get there.
He'll get there.
It's just really funny because it's like, this has happened before. It's happened with like half of my friends at this point. I managed to convince them to watch the first couple episodes. And then I immediately started getting loads of messages and they're like, no, I understand now. I'm like, you get it, right? You get why it's all I talk about.
Insane, yes.
Like, you understand why I'm crazy. And they're like, yes, I need to watch it all right now. And I'm like, yes. It's very vindicating. Because often I'll try and get people into media I'm interested in. Then I'll be like, oh, I gave it a go, it wasn't my thing. And I'm like, oh my God, how? But this time it's like every single person I've convinced to watch it has been like, no, I get it.
I'm so glad because I'm so not normal about this show. I was going through my phone the other day and I was like deleting stuff, and I found an old screenshot of some TikTok or something where the guy was like, me patiently listening to my friend describe their favourite show, brackets, I will never watch a single episode.
Yeah.
And I know I used to send that to my friends all the time because I was like, the thing about Lost, right? I would talk about Lost so much and they would have zero interest.
Yeah. So yeah, the beginning of this episode made me giggle because there's like a moment where Saeed is telling all the extras to leave first. He was like, you guys go ahead.
Red shirts, go on.
You men we've never seen before. You guys go on ahead and I'll be along with the named characters later. And I was like, this is funny.
We got a new eye shot today because it was the first shot of the episode. It wasn't eye-opening. I think the eye was already open, but it was of the baby.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a new one.
Baby eye.
So we got the baby's name in this episode as well.
Aaron.
The baby's called Aaron. Why was Mum trying to convince me that the baby was going to be called Adam?
She was so. Because
like,
also like I'm confused by the name thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like the name is not significant in any way.
No, it doesn't seem to be.
This is something like, obviously it's built up a little bit and it's like Claire's not giving him a name yet because she didn't think of a name because she didn't want to keep him. And it's like a big thing, obviously, that then after he's taken, it's like she knows what his name is and it's Aaron. But I was like, Aaron, it's not like symbolic at all.
Yeah, it's not like it's
not like it's Adam,
Adam would have significance, or like, I don't know, someone from Claire's past, like what the name of the psychic or something like that.
I know. Does he have a name? He does have a name, but I don't remember.
Richard, maybe.
Maybe.
But we just call him the psychic, to be fair. That's what she should have called the baby, the psychic.
The psychic. I just googled it. Apparently Aaron means mountain of strength.
Okay. Well, mountains on the island, probably.
It's interesting to me that, because it's like a big moment.
Yeah.
Baby has a name, but it's like the name itself doesn't really mean anything to us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to figure out what the significance is, but it seems like there isn't any.
No, I don't think so.
Unless you guys have found a connection, in which case, let us know. But
yeah. If there is a reason for it that we've forgotten about. Also, I don't think she ever explains where she got the name from.
No.
Just kind of nice in a way. I always think like characters, when characters are like significantly named after another, like babies being named after like deceased family members, or like characters, or like in media when it's like the character is named after the other guy, and it's like, I'm always a bit like, well, let the baby have his own name,
What about Walt? He's named after Michael's dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's cute, and I know that's the tradition of names, you know? Historically, that is what names are, really, isn't it? You're named after, like, family members, and you have, like, family names. But I always think, like, yeah, like, it's also, sometimes I feel like it's a bit of sort of pressure to put on a baby. If you're like, my granddad meant everything to me, so I'm going to name my baby after it, and then it's after him, and then it's like, well, your baby now has to live up to your memory of your granddad, you know?
I guess I never really thought about it.
This is the thing, is you don't think about it like that, and then you do. Whereas, like, I think about baby names a lot. And I think, like, I was like, well, I love a lot of Shakespearean names, but then I'm like, but so many Shakespearean characters are so evil.
Yeah.
Like, Iago, brilliant name. No. Iago, ontologically evil. You can't name your baby after Iago.
Yes, well, I obviously have a Shakespearean name.
Yeah.
And I don't actually know The Tempest that well.
No, me neither.
To be honest, but I think Ariel's pretty sound as a character.
I think they're pretty morally chill. Just a bit of a trickster, I think, because fairies tend to be in
kind of just fuck around and find out, I think, is their kind of energy.
Because I really like Caliban as a name, but I don't... the jury seems to be out on whether Caliban is a morally good person or not. Because some people I've spoken to have been like, oh no, he's horrible. And some people are like, oh no, they're all just really racist towards him. He's actually chill. And so I'm like, I need to read it.
Yeah, I need to read it again, to be fair. So, we need to address something. We need to address the Black Rock.
Yes.
Guys, like, listen. The Black Rock being a ship and not a rock, huge fucking revelation.
Crazy.
And you might be wondering, why the fuck did you not talk about it last week? You may have listened to last week's episode and gone, hello, is this thing on? Why the fuck did you not talk about the Black Rock?
Yeah, here's the thing, is we couldn't remember if it was revealed or not.
Velvet gaslit me into believing that it wasn't revealed, even though I can show you right here in my notes, I wrote Black Rock reveal in all caps.
Yeah, I also have a note that says Black Rock boat reveal, but then we got halfway through the episode.
You literally went boat down?
Yeah. And we were recording, the thing is, I saw them coming through the trees, and then I looked down to write that down, and I looked back up and the scene had changed, and I wasn't sure if they'd actually panned over to the boat or not. And then you asked me, did they reveal it? And I was like, I'm not sure. So I just said, well, let's not do it just to be safe. But then in this one, we were like, well, if that's the reveal, it's really underwhelming, so they must have done it last episode.
Done it last week. Because it just kind of, like, showed the ship, and it was like, yeah. So yeah, but that huge lore drop, that blew my mind when we first watched it. I was like,
the Black Rock is a boat.
I really didn't see that coming.
No, me neither.
That the Black Rock is a boat called the Black Rock. Really cool.
Really cool name for a boat also.
Yes, sick. And the fact that, like, Claire's been dreaming about it. So,
about a Black Rock.
Yeah.
But it's like, clearly she wrote a Black Rock in her notes, so it's like in her diary. So, like, was she dreaming about a boat? Or was she dreaming about a rock?
I think she was. I choose to believe that she dreamt the ship and she saw the name Black Rock written on it.
Maybe. But maybe it was an actual rock. But also it's like we have the black smoke and the Black Rock, and it's all the dark territory. The
black and white stones and the backgammon and stuff.
Yeah.
They like their black and white imagery.
They do.
Yeah. So we get a bit more, like, sort of lore about the Black Rock in this episode. So we find out that it was a slave ship, and it has lots of skeletons in it still. There's, like, a nice crunch on the skeleton foot. I enjoyed that.
They're all, like, chained up. Oh, it's really creepy.
It's very eerie. And also, how is the boat that far inland?
Yeah. How did it get there?
How did she get there? I love the Black Rock. She's my favourite character.
I like to think it was sort of picked up by this elephant Godzilla monster that's in the woods, and it was just like rattling it around. Yeah. Just kind of playing with it and then dropped it on the floor.
Arts hypothesizes it was a tsunami, doesn't he?
Yes, that makes sense, because also he was talking about, like, monsoon season, so obviously the weather is temperamental, so that would make sense if a big wave somehow threw it over all the trees. It's
question mark.
It's tenuous, but it makes sense.
Yeah. But this is the great thing about the show. It's like everything has a logical explanation, but it's not quite add up.
Yeah.
So
and we had the great how did it get there? Great quote from Rousseau. Are you on the same island as I am?
Actual queen.
She's like, don't fucking question it. Come on.
She's so funny. I love the way she just fucks off immediately.
Legendary.
She's great.
The way she's just like, okay, so I said I would bring you to the Black Rock. Now I'm leaving. I'm not part of this. It's great. I love her commitment to just not being part of the group.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not a part of this. I'm here for my own means, which
But
is
then
steal
this
the
is
baby.
yeah, this is the thing. So it's like, we're like, oh my god, I love Rousseau, she's such a queen, she's an icon. But really, is this all a big ploy? You know, did she only lead them out to the Black Rock to distract them, get them away from the camp so that she could snatch the baby?
Maybe.
You know?
Is she really one of the others? Wouldn't that be something?
I think it's more likely Saeed's explanation where she's I want to trade the baby for my baby.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense despite the fact that the baby would be like 16 by now. But
I guess she thinks, you know, stealing...
They clearly wanted Claire's baby, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because they kidnapped Claire.
Yeah. And also because if you look at the pattern, it's like Danielle gave birth and then a week later she saw the smoke and then she took... And then her baby was taken. And then it's like, it's, you know, it's been about a week since Claire had her baby and... Then there's the smoke coming and the whispers and stuff. And so it's like, it does make sense.
Yeah, that's so true, yeah. Aaron's probably about a week old.
Like, ish. I've not really been keeping track of the timeline, but a lot of the recent episodes have happened in the space of like a couple of days, haven't they, since Boone died. So yeah. It does make sense. And her logic, it makes sense when you look at it in her head, you know?
Saeed says something, doesn't he? He's like, don't try and apply logic to her actions.
Yeah.
Saeed has some great lines in this episode, like, don't make it personal, and you want to waste time assigning blame, there's plenty to go around.
Yeah, there is a great, I think it's been deleted now, but there is a great Saeed edit on TikTok that I really love, which is when Charlie runs up to him and is like, if you just give me the gun, he like grabs him by the neck and goes, do not hit me again. And I'm like, yes, Saeed.
Yeah. Why does Charlie punch Saeed? It's so out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think Charlie's just having a day.
Oh, Charlie, fucking hell.
This is one of those
This isn't about you, Charlie, okay?
It's like...
It's not all about you.
It's like when Boone randomly takes down Michael. Like, it's very much that. It's very much like the little weird one is trying to get involved, you know?
Yeah.
Another iconic Saeed line from this episode, though, in the flashback. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sure you are. Can I go now?
So fucking funny.
Oh, Saeed. Because also the fact that, like, that is, like... He's been arrested on suspicion of being a terrorist. He's just been employed by the Australian government to catch terrorists.
He's so over it at this point. He's like, I'm literally so done with you all.
It's the way, like, I just really want to know how that conversation went, you know? And they're like, what's your name? Saeed Jarrah. We literally met 2 hours ago. We met yesterday when you were carting my friend's dead body out of a van. Yeah. I'm on your side.
Ring your boss and she'll know who I am.
Yeah. She bought me this plane ticket. Can I go now?
Can I go now?
Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sure you are.
Oh, the deleted flashback scene we all need.
That conversation.
I want to talk a little bit about the flashbacks in this episode, actually, because I'm a bit confused. Because, you know, it seems like in the first episode, what it was set up like was each character's going to get one scene, and we're going to, you know, we're going to get like little snippets throughout the episode that kind of parallel with what's going on. But in this episode, first of all, it seems like Saeed maybe doesn't have his own one, because he has that little bit which is within Jin's, and he has the other little bit which is within Shannon's before.
Yeah.
And also we get another Michael and Walt scene.
Yeah, it's a bit less kind of plot furthering, these ones. They're a bit more like, it's almost like going back to what we saw. It's expanding on what we saw last episode, which I think is kind of interesting.
Unless, I literally just thought, is the one in the first episode Walt's, and then this one is Michael's?
No, that was just going to say that.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? Because that's all very much from Walt's perspective when he's like opening the curtains.
And also it's like that in the parallel in the main episode, it's that now he's close with his dad and he wakes up first and he finds Danielle. Whereas in this one, it was like, he was like, I can't do this, I can't look after Walt. And then in this, it goes back to him like actively trying to like parent him.
Yeah.
It does, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm on board that we've had 2 Michael and Walt scenes.
Also, I love a Michael and Walt scene.
Me too, but this one is awful.
It is sad.
What does he mean? What do you mean it was never part of the plan for Walt to be his?
Well,
What do you mean?
It was never part of his life in America, was it?
I'm not happy with that, because it seems like they've completely forgotten about Michael.
No, it is true, but I think it's like he obviously, over the last, like, 9 years, has, like, come to terms with the fact that he's never going to be in Walt's life. And so suddenly he is again, and he's like, I wasn't anticipating
He wrote
this.
him letters still.
I know, he did.
Like, Michael really wanted to be Walt's dad. I don't understand why they suddenly go... I mean, I get why he rings up his mum and goes, maybe you could take him, I'm scared, I don't know how to do this, I have a tiny apartment.
Yeah. And also, like, if he's got to leave, what did he say, he has to leave for work at 5 a.m. or something ridiculous? I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough. You're not waking up a kid that early.
I understand that and him kind of freaking out about the practicalities and everything. But just the line saying it was never part of the plan, that really pissed me off.
Yeah, no, it does, because that implies that he walked out.
Yeah.
Which he very much didn't.
And Walt's obviously overheard that and gotten completely the wrong idea.
Yeah. But then it's you know, it's all been reconciled now, hasn't it? And that was such a sweet scene with them on the boat, where they're like, where he asks how come I never saw you? And he's like, well, your mum didn't want me to, and he says, she was wrong. And I was like, she was wrong, versus like, right before they got on the plane, him yelling like, you're not my father, I don't want to be near you. So cute.
Yeah. And that really sweet moment is like massively undercut by the shakiness and the juddering, and then they immediately lose the rudder from the ship.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And Sawyer swimming in jeans again. Why?
I know.
It would make far more sense to take the jeans off, not only because they're going to get dragged down in the water, but surely the gun is within the jeans.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's doing it to hide the gun, take off the jeans, because it's surely in his belt.
Yeah.
And then he could just like kind of push it into the leg and then leave the jeans. Also, why didn't he tell the others he had a gun?
No, but I think that's great when Michael finds it.
It is great,
and
but
he
it
goes,
is also like...
you should put that back on before you burn.
No, it is great.
Okay, so...
It is great, and that was a great line. But I think, like obviously Jack gave Sawyer the gun, but he didn't give it to him in like a underhanded, like, do what you need to do. It just, like, Sawyer knows how to use a gun. And so he gives it to him in the name of keeping everyone on the boat safe, surely.
Yeah.
So there's no reason... I know Sawyer just keeps everything secret about his life.
I think it's just Sawyer being Sawyer, really, isn't it? Because it's like, you're completely correct. Not telling them makes it more suspicious.
Makes it seem like he's going to kill them all and, like, take the boat. But, like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
Sawyer's in a really weird era this episode, because also we got Sawyer had a little ponytail and was singing Bob Marley.
Yeah, that was
interesting.
Scene.
That was weird.
Like a singing bonding moment between him
and
Michael.
like Bob Marley.
What's so odd?
Really strange. Really strange also that came after the gin scene, because Jim was like not involved in any of that.
Yeah.
And then we have Sawyer reading all the letters, although iconic Walt moment in that was when he's like, the only letter I ever wrote was for the man I was going to kill, and Walt just goes, why are you going to kill him?
I literally wrote down Walt does not rise to Sawyer's bullshit.
Walt does not give a fuck.
No, because like clearly he's trying to like freak him out, and he just goes, why are you going to kill him?
Why?
Why though? I know you are, but what am I?
It's very much like, are we there yet? Like,
Walt, this entire trip, are we there yet?
Yeah. And so he's just like, yeah, why are you gonna kill him? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, but why is Sawyer reading all the messages? Like,
I know, just because he's a wanker.
It is great when he reads Hurley's, though. Who the hell is Hugo, and why is he leaving $160 million to his mum?
Yeah. The scenes with Walt and Michael across these, like, episodes, like the pre-plane scenes and the ones in the episode, it's like Walt before the crash is like he's really trying to hide that he cares about Michael at all. Like when he's like he's playing on the DS and he's not paying attention to what Michael's saying, and then he's like, I'm gonna go call him, and then as soon as he walks away, he's like looking after, like watching him, and like going and listening in on the phone call, but then it's like when Michael turns around, it's like, he's like, oh, I just need new batteries, and he's not like asking about their life, but they see as like this, and now that they've like grown closer, but also obviously he's had a bit of a like mortality. I mean, not that he didn't already, but like he, you know, what's been considerably shaken up in the last couple of months. He seems a lot more like transparent, you know, it's easier for him to just be like, no, I wanna, you know, be with you, and we, you know, I wish I'd known you.
I didn't necessarily get that from the airport scene, that whole like, I'm pretending not to care about you but I do, but I completely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I think it's actually really, talking about like the parallels between the flashbacks and the on-island stuff, I think it's really nice that we kind of get Michael and Walt's scene in the airport like right after Claire's kind of moment, because I think it's like Michael, both of them are struggling to be parents.
Yeah, they don't know how to be parents.
They don't know how to be parents. And I think Claire's really interesting in this episode because she's kind of just like, she's very like stressed and just like,
yeah,
upset with everyone for telling her it's all gonna be fine. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And it's really nice because it's very much like typical new mother stress, you know? It's like, obviously they're stressed about the imminent threat of death, but also it's just like, oh, and I have to pack all my bags and I need to change the nappy and I don't have any, and oh my god, like that's just like standard new mother stuff. And I think it's quite nice that you kind of get that as well as it being like, someone's gonna kidnap my baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think Emily de Raven's really good at that kind of like manic kind of crying kind of acting, you know, like we saw it with like in Claire's big episode with the kind of like dream and stuff, and she's like screaming and everything. And I think this bit where she runs into the jungle with Sun following her, clearly trying to be like, no, Claire, sit down, and she's like, you know, I'm coming with you, blah 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 blah, and it's like, on the one hand you're like, she should go with them, but on the other hand you kind of see where they're coming from because she's clearly emotionally unstable at the minute, and it's like she needs to just like rest, basically.
Yeah, I was thinking like it's very much giving the same as like when Jack goes off after Claire and he's like running around in circles in the jungle and they're like, go back to the caves and look after Saeed and like rest because we need you to be fine. But the difference is that they managed to get Claire to actually stay instead of Jack, who is like, no, I'm coming with you.
Because he has to fix everything.
Because he has to. I guess Claire is a bit better at just going, okay, you're right.
She's probably so fucking tired. Honestly.
I know, she's probably like, you know what, actually, I could use a lay down.
I just need a nap, honestly.
And I would not be sitting down. If it was my baby, I'd be like, no, I'm coming with you. My baby has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
But I guess because she has been concussed. So I guess she's probably quite dizzy.
Yeah. This is the thing. This is what I was trying to say. It's like, I'm on Claire's side, and I'm like, yeah, she should
emotionally, but like rationally, it's like she should sit down. Yeah. I noticed as well, actually, Sun is with Claire a lot this episode, but also she like goes and talks to Shannon, doesn't she? And we'll talk about that scene, I imagine. But like she's very like, I felt like I heard her in the background of scenes as well, which I wasn't really used to. Sun, yeah. And I'm like, she's been a lot more engaged with people. Is that because Jin's gone?
Yeah, maybe.
And so she's not like worried about him, but also she doesn't have to worry about him being like, why are you talking to everyone?
Yeah, although, you know, that's
she didn't really give a fuck about that before, did she?
Yeah, she's kind of over that now. But yes.
But maybe it's just because Jin's gone, so the writers are putting her in other scenes. You know.
Yeah, and I think she's also, you know, trying to help everyone on the camp a bit more. But yes, absolutely. But yeah, it was kind of that little trio. It was kind of giving, you know, like the wives who've been left behind, you know.
Yeah.
When she's like looking out to sea, I'm like, my husband, the sailor who is lost at sea.
When will my husband return from the war?
Yeah, what's that cat that's like haunted by them?
Every time I call her name, she looks at me like her husband died at sea. Very much. It's a very interesting scene from many perspectives. Because obviously Sun is trying to figure out what Jin's said to her.
Yeah.
We're being punished. Because he said, I'm here because I'm being punished. But then she's obviously then thinking, well, am I being punished for wanting to run away from him? Yeah. And for lying to him about speaking English?
Which is awful.
And then she's thinking, is everyone here being punished? You know, have we all done bad things? And, like, I find it interesting that she asked Shannon about that. Because it's like, what's Shannon thinking about why they're here? You know? And I think she doesn't really argue back, which is really interesting, because a previous Shannon would be like, what are you talking about? That's, like, means nothing. We were just in a plane crash. It was a freak accident. But now that Boone's, like, gone, she's obviously thinking, why has this happened? So when she's presented with this, like, we're being punished, maybe she's thinking, am I being punished for how I treated him? Or, like, how she behaved? Like, I really like that her response was just, who do you think's punishing us?
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool as well. It was kind of, you know, it's like, what if ghosts are real?
Yeah.
You know, the moment in the horror film where they stop being skeptics and kind of go...
They go, oh, yeah.
It was a really interesting conversation, I completely agree. And she says fate is the one who's punishing them. Which
but then, of course,
really interesting as a concept. Because fate... Surely fate is not like... It's just the consequences of your actions almost, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
fate
like
is just like, it's meant to happen.
your destiny, and it's like, you know... I wouldn't think of fate going, you did this, so now you get this.
Is it just a freak accident? Like, it is interesting to think, like, maybe... But then, of course, we have Claire chiming in with, we're not being punished. Because Claire doesn't have any reason to think she might be.
Yes, but she says there's no such thing as fate, whereas she does have a reason to believe fate could be real because of the psychic. Do you know what I mean? Like, the psychic foresaw the crash and knew that she had to be the one to raise the baby and everything. So, I mean, at that point, you must start to believe.
Yeah, but then maybe it's like, well, if she's the one who's supposed to raise the baby, why has he been taken from her?
Yes, that's the mentality she's in right now, isn't it?
And she can't just think it's fate, because then she'll just be like, well, I'll get him back because it's fate that I'm supposed to raise him. You know, she has to, like, be active in that.
This is something very real and very scary.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Claire in general has had such a scary time. Anytime I think about the show from Claire's perspective, I'm like, oh my god. Like, even aside from the, like, kidnapping and the amnesia, like, imagine being in a plane crash and you're pregnant. Horrifying.
Yeah.
In the scene where Michael was on the phone to his mum, did you see John get wheeled past?
Yeah, very fun.
But he didn't see it?
He didn't see him.
So he doesn't know?
Yeah.
Because we've had a bit of a crazy revelation this episode.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that Jin was planning on running away with Sun.
Yes. So
Ariel was adamant we knew this already.
Well,
we didn't know this already.
We kind of did because of the conversation between Jin and his dad. And
yeah,
he was
but
like,
that was just Jin's dad saying you should run away with her. I mean, how many times has Mum said to you, you should do this thing, and then you've gone, yeah, all right, and not done it?
Yeah, but it's not really the same thing,
But
is
it's also like, we've seen Jin be so wrapped up in this, like, fear
I know.
of what Mr. Pike might do to him, that then he was, like, actually ready to ignore that and run away.
I know, and I do agree that it is a big thing, but I just didn't think of it as such a shocking thing because the seed had already been planted in a previous episode. So no, we didn't know that he was going to go through with it, but and now we do. But it wasn't to me like, oh my god, because we'd already had the idea put into our heads.
See, I thought it was a very big deal. Because I was like, it's not only that we've seen Jin go through development on the island, but it's that even the man we knew right at the beginning, who was really awful to her, and like we said, this is what we're getting before and afters, essentially. Even the before was still planning on running away with her and still wanted to make things right.
Yeah.
I think that's really incredible.
It is, and it's just so frustrating that they didn't talk to each other.
Yeah, because if they just told each other, like, can you imagine if Jin had been like, once we get to America, we're going to run away together, and Sun had been like, no way, I learned English.
You're not gonna believe
You're gonna
this.
fucking believe this, Jin. I've learned English.
No, this is crazy. Are there cameras? This is crazy. Shut up.
Yeah, like if they only knew that they were both planning it, they could have planned it
I
together.
know. And it's like, but this is the whole point, isn't it? Because they don't communicate with each other.
And like Sun wouldn't have been planning on running away if she knew that he was, because she was planning on running away from him.
Yeah.
Because she was like, the relationship is unsalvageable. But he was also planning on running away, so if she'd known that. But then if she'd known that, maybe she wouldn't have learned English, and then where would they be on the island?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
But then also, if she'd say that they were in the airport and he told her then, she might be like, fuck. No, my plan was to run away to America from you. You can't come with me.
Yeah.
No, now I need to we need to run away together and then I need to run away a second time.
Imagine if he told her that and she'd still gotten in the taxi. I remember that American guy, beating him up.
What?
In the bathroom.
No.
In my memory, he, hits him.
Why did you think that?
I don't know, I just have a memory of, them being in that bathroom and then the guy and Jin, tries to run away or something and then he,
No.
hits him and then is don't, you will deliver the... And it was a much more, violent, you will deliver the messages and then you'll come back and... Yeah.
No, I don't know why. Because it would be really obvious if he walked out the bathroom and had a black eye or something.
Well, yeah, but I guess I just thought she didn't notice. I don't know.
I wrote down, white boy shocks everyone by being able to speak perfect Korean.
Yeah, very much. It's his face when he speaks Korean. He's like,
fuck. This can't be good.
This is not good. Because a Korean guy being able to speak English,
he's got a flair for the dramatics, that
he
guy.
very much does. He's got a great shirt on as well.
Yes, he does.
I love that it's
Very touristy.
now go and threaten my son-in-law, but I'm gonna put some flash on it. I gotta go threaten this man with the threat of death if he runs away, but also I'm gonna wear this funky shirt.
I think all of Mr. Pike's employees have a little bit of flair.
Yeah, those white gloves.
Yeah. And even Jin, when he goes, he got the message.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I see what's going on.
They give them, SAS training.
They do. It's the most important... What's the most important thing when carrying out a mission? Yes.
Sass.
Yes. Is it having the right weapons? No. It is having a good line at
Having
the
the good
end.
delivery.
Delivering the message.
Delivering.
Delivering.
Kevin with a little PowerPoint being like, so here are some ways you could have some good delivery. Number 1, style.
Mm-hmm.
Wear something fun.
Yeah.
Examples.
Number
White
2,
gloves.
intonation.
Number 3, you could maybe speak casually.
Mm. Or, number 3.5, you flip it on its head, do lots of gravitas.
Yeah.
Gravitas can be your friend.
Or,
in certain scenarios.
number 4, or you could not speak at all.
Mm.
Also scary.
Go for the silent approach.
Also scary.
Mm. And number 6, a certain je ne sais quoi.
Anyway, here are your guns, go kill some people.
That's all the training they get. Do you think they do? No, we need to do a little role play first. Give them the scripts. And then stand there
Office roleplay.
Hello, I'm the Secretary for Environmental Health. What are you doing here?
I'm here from the office of Mr. Pike. Now I'm going to stop you right there.
Don't say the name, okay? Not until judiciously drop it in. Once you've already got the
Ask him about his day. You're about to kill the man, give him some pleasantries. Check in before you float the name in. Mm-hmm. Or just subtly flash a badge to him,
You think they have badges?
Might do.
Identity badges. Oh, sorry, officer. I work for the Korean mafia.
Just subtly put your hand on your hip, exposing your gun.
Yawns.
Can I come in?
No, I'm going to stop you right there. Don't ask to come in. Say you're going to come in. You're going to let me in. Yeah? Okay? Don't give them the option to refuse you.
Because if they shut the door, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
knock again? That's embarrassing.
What do you do then? Huh? Go home? Absolutely not. You need to get that job done.
See, maybe if they did all this training, Jim would have done it right the first time. He wouldn't have just delivered the message.
Yeah. Also, I really liked how I genuinely forgot about this, guys. So I wasn't trying to like plant it and be like, isn't it cool? And then it'd be like, boom, plot twist. We get the same scene.
But it's subtitled?
But it's subtitled this time.
I was thinking that because I was like, we talked about it last week. We said it's so fun that it's not subtitled. And it's because it's Sun.
It's
because she speaks English, so she knows what the other people are saying. But Jin, obviously Jin's world is just in Korean.
They don't even speak. The racist couple don't even speak in this one. Like...
Yeah, because he doesn't even... Why would he know? Why would he know to pay attention to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really, really well done. I think the switch between Sun's perspective and Jin's perspective is so interesting in the show because it's just so subtle, but it really, you could tell there's a lot of thought behind it.
It's why House of the Rising Sun and In Translation are two of the best episodes of the whole show.
Yeah, because it's just like seeing the same things, but just slightly different. It's crazy how much that can change.
Absolutely. And then there's one more flashback which we should talk about, I think.
Yes, we have a great story about this flashback.
Well, is it a story? I think we just made each other laugh one time, didn't we?
About Charlie?
Yeah. Your motivation is?
Yeah. So, but it came from a round of subjective Guess Who.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so we told you.
That.
So we've told you guys previously about the like 4-hour train journey where we just played Lost subjective Guess Who, like back to back, and we got to a point where we were picking the most niche characters we possibly could. Like I was
just
doing
to fuck with each other.
We were doing shit like Mr. Pike and like the Australian farmer who has one arm. Like we were picking things like that, and I did a round with Ariel. Went on for so long because I was like, are you an English character? Yes. And then I went through like all the English flashbacks and I was like, it's none of those because she's in Australia or like something like that. It went on for ages.
Had I actually picked this woman?
And you'd picked the woman that Charlie sleeps with the night before the plane that wants to get heroin off him.
I really don't remember having picked her.
It was like 10 p.m. at this point. We've been on trains since like 9 in the morning. We'd come through like the Eurostar security. We both got a bit insane. And I was trying so hard. I don't even think it was subjective Guess Who. I think at this point it was just regular Guess Who. And I still couldn't get it. It took me such a long time, and then I finally got it down to like you're in one scene, and then I finally got it, and I was like, for fuck's sake, she's so irrelevant. And then we were joking about her, her character.
Yeah, it's like, what was the actor given, you know? Because she's such a tiny character. Like, was she given a synopsis of the whole of Lost? Probably not. She was probably just given, your motivation is, you just slept with this guy and you're a heroin addict. Go!
It's like, you're a heroin addict and he's got a plane to catch and you want heroin.
Go! Your motivation is heroin.
Yeah, I often think that, like, do the actors they hire for the flashbacks know what's going on, like, on the island?
Are they aware what they are part of?
Because, like, I think maybe in season 1 they probably are.
I was going to say the opposite, actually. I was going to say probably if you're in a season 2 flashback, you've seen season 1.
Yeah, well, this is when they started being secretive about it, is what I was going to say.
Okay.
Because I remember on the Wikipedia page, I don't remember what the character was, but it was someone, they had like a young actor to play them in like a flashback, and it said that the audition call out had a different name, and it was like Mark 16 whatever, but actually it was to play Sawyer or whatever.
Yeah, so people wouldn't go, oh, there's a
my
flashback
God,
where
they're doing young Sawyer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, after this, they obviously, after it gets famous, they start being really evasive and secretive, like with Marvel, like how they censor out the scripts and stuff. Like they started being really secretive about it. But like I think at this point they were probably like, they probably didn't bother explaining, actually. It was probably less like, we can't tell you because it's a secret. It was probably more like, it's a whole thing, you don't need to know.
You don't need to know, yeah. That this man is then going to crash on a desert island and, you know, shoot a man 5 times in the chest in order to protect an unborn baby, and then the baby gets born on the island, and then it gets stolen, and then he has to go across, and he has to like run through a weed field.
And then you're like,
the weed field is back. Remember it from whatever the case may be.
And then the woman is like, okay, and what does that have to do with heroin? Oh yeah, he kicks heroin on
He
the
keeps
island.
heroin on the island, but then they go and there's a plane and they had loads of Virgin Mary statues of heroin statues.
And this is also significant because he's a Catholic.
He's got the Catholic guilt and he's got the repressed Catholic.
And then, of course, they smash the Virgin Mary, and then there's like a weird crotch-up shot of him looking at the heroin, and she's like, okay. And then they're like, okay, action.
Wait, slow down.
Great, you're looking hungover. Great. Now lay down the bed.
JJ, I'm confused. JJ, help.
And I can imagine Don Monahan sort of sat in the other chair for this being like, wait, what? Being like, oh, of course, the Catholic guilt.
Yeah, the Catholic guilt.
Yeah, the Catholic guilt. We all know about that. He's like chiming in and it's not helping. He's like, yeah, you know how we all have Catholic guilt. And she's like, I don't have time for this.
He's like, no, the important thing is that his guitar survives the crash. And I get to show off that I can play.
And I get to play the guitar, and it's like it's only been like 8 days since he's last played the guitar, which means he played it this morning. And she's like, oh my god.
Why is the guitar not here then?
Where's the guitar then? And they're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Guitar's under the bed. Maybe. Is
Guitar's
the guitar there? Maybe it's in the background or
It's
something.
probably there. I mean, it's there.
It's kind of the attention
emotionally.
to detail that they...
It will be there, yeah,
It
I
will
imagine.
be there, probably. But yeah, I think she's actually a great character.
She's a very fun character, because it's also like very much, you can see how Charlie's changed by the way other characters kind of are around him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because he's not that different really, other than that he's sober now.
Mm.
And also he's killed a man, but like,
yeah,
he was kind of like that before. Like, we've seen the photocopier episode. He's kind of always had this weird complex.
Mm. Yeah, but it's like, even though he's like a washed up rock star, he still has like a groupies, or he like thinks he has groupies. He still thinks that he can
she's
just
like pretended to be a groupie to get drugs off him.
Yeah. And then she's like, I don't give, like, what does she even say? Like, I don't give a shit about your awful band.
She's like, your terrible washed up band. Well, she calls it drive-through.
Yeah, she's like, yeah.
Oh, I'm drive-through's biggest fan. Oh no. Where's the heroin? Shaft. Drive shaft.
This is his ego. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
oh, I love Charlie.
This is why I think she's a great character, and she's really, really well written, because she's kind of just like completely like, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, though.
She's not in Charlie's world, even though she's only introduced to us via Charlie's flashback, you know? And I think, I just think the script is really natural, and I really like the fight choreo. Sometimes it's bad, but it's good in this.
No, it is
They have
good.
a proper fight.
They really
go for it.
And it's very much that, like, you see this, like, addiction and how much that takes over both the characters' lives.
Yeah.
To then Charlie now, who looks down at that heroin and he doesn't pick it up. You know?
And we're talking about John's big speech, run, fight or die. That crotch up shot of Charlie looking at the heroin, you're gonna see it so many times.
The plane was loaded with heroin. Toss, smash. Really fake smash sound. Crotch up shot of Charlie. It's like, it's also the way it's like really fake smash sound, then a shot of it broken, and it looks like they've set it up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't believe for 1 second that statue actually had that fake heroin inside.
And how would it have fallen so perfectly? There's to reveal the heroin. Yeah. It's obviously and then it's like, the crotch up shot, it looks so bad in my opinion.
I know it's supposed to be like, he's looking at the heroin's looking at him or whatever.
POV, you are a bag of heroin inside a Virgin Mary statue.
POV, you're a broken Virgin Mary statue. That's the Virgin Mary looking at Charlie going, come on, Charlie.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's a weird shot, but I get what they're going for, because it's like the temptation versus like his new life where he, you know, he wants to look after Claire, and that's like the most important. Where's Dad ringing me? Hi.
Oh, hello. So someone's answering their phone.
Mum's on a call with work, I think.
We're recording the podcast, Dad.
We're in the middle of recording the podcast. No, it's fine, don't worry.
Right, so we're back. We had to take a little break because Dad rang us.
My dad phoned us.
It should have been like, do you want to say hi? He wouldn't have wanted to say hi.
He wouldn't have.
So I guess all that's really left to talk about is the main kind of plot line, right? With our main characters.
Well, just one thing quickly.
Oh, yeah?
Claire's the one who scratched Danielle.
Yes! Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
So, okay, so what I have written down here is Chekhov scratches plus Chekhov's amnesia.
2 Chekhovs.
Double Chekhov.
Double Chekhov. It's a double Chekhov today.
No one believed her.
John was like, mean bush.
But we know what
John's
Claire's nails can do. We've seen her make her own hands bleed.
Yeah. I mean, that's really cool as well, because it's like, in a way, that's Claire's flashback. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone else is getting these airport ones, but we haven't had any of Claire in the airport at all yet.
No.
I mean, I'm not sure if we do in part 3, but in a way, her flashback is this weird kind of amnesia moment, which is just like a tiny little snippet. It's very blurry. It's very kind of like, you hear her screaming and stuff. It's quite scary, you know, and like horror-y.
And the fact that it's just like, why did I do that to you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what does she say? Yeah, why did I scratch you? So cool.
Because then it's like, she's trying to take the baby.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she was in cahoots with Ethan all along.
In cahoots this whole time?
To get the baby.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she was trying to stop Claire from getting back to the...
I mean, when we saw it, what did we see? Not very much, but we saw it was like at night, right? And we know she was found at night.
Yeah.
So
maybe it was like
she was.
Yeah, trying to stop her from getting back.
Yeah.
She's in that black dress again.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just great though because it's so unexpected.
Yeah.
Like it just comes out of nowhere in this episode, and suddenly, and I mean, I guess that's kind of Claire's experience, isn't it? Like,
can I hold him?
Can I hold him? Love that scene because she's so creepy. And she's just like, oh yeah, no, I just fed him, so I don't think that's a good idea. She's like, you don't want me to hold him.
Why don't you want me to hold him?
What do you do in that situation? It's like,
oh, so creepy.
Oh, so scary. And then you get this weird flash, and that's kind of, you know, what Claire's been experiencing this whole time with her amnesia. She'll just like randomly remember something that's really out of context, and
like the only other thing we know she's remembered is the peanut butter thing. Very different
different in vibe.
She's like, what the fuck happened to me? The only 2 things I remember is like a sweet peanut butter thing and then scratching a woman's arm. But also it's like that happened, like, if that happened when Claire was still pregnant, she must have scratched deep for it to still be, you know, still be that red.
It's really exciting because we never anticipated that Rousseau was involved in anything to do with that period of time. And now we know she was. Cool. Exciting.
And now she's taken the baby.
She's taken the baby. Rousseau, take the baby.
Rousseau, don't take the baby.
Rousseau, take the baby brackets negative.
Rousseau, take the baby. That's her thought process. Rousseau, take the baby.
Yeah, that's her thought process.
Can I hold him? Rousseau, take the baby.
Claire's like, no. No, don't want Rousseau.
Danielle, take the baby.
Don't want Danielle to take the baby.
But it's so scary because it's also like this is just like, where is this gonna go, you know? But yeah, sorry, so let's talk about what the main characters are doing.
Yeah, well, fuck them, who cares?
Well, all this is going on, a bunch of bullshit is what they're doing.
It's not a bunch of bullshit.
It's not a bunch of bullshit. It's some bullshit.
The Arts is once again a very angry man. His main character trait is angry. Your motivation is you're an angry science teacher.
Your motivation is you're really pissed off. Like, I wrote down genre aware arts.
Yeah.
This is a man who knows his background character and is not happy about it.
Yeah. It's kind of really silly in a way.
Yeah, it's almost, it's very comedic.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of very serious, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, he's saying all this to Hurley, and as a viewer, you're like, oh, it's funny, because it's like, oh, he's aware he's an extra, he's like, you know, he knows they're the main characters, ha ha ha. But when you think about it in the context of, like, how he's living, you know, he says stuff like, why does Kate get the best things to build her shelter? Yeah. You know? Why are you he says like, he thinks Hurley's eating more than he is, and I'm like, yeah, actually, like, are they getting if the extras are getting pushed to the side plot-wise, maybe they're also getting not treated equally.
Maybe, and it is a bit of a revelation to hear that Jin doesn't catch fish for everybody. I was a bit like, oh, okay, that's a bit, huh? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that Hurley just kind of doesn't he's like, this is all in your head. And that's so, like, that's something that someone on the inner circle says, you know?
There is no inner circle. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. He knows he's not one of the cool kids. And it is funny because...
And there's the way he goes off into, like, I teach in high school. You think the gym teacher lets me eat with him? It's the way he's not even talking about the children. He's not even, like, there's cliques with the kids. He's like, you think the gym teacher lets me eat with him? No. And I'm like, oh, bless Arts. Clearly has never been popular a day in his life.
Yeah. And sadly, the last day in his life.
Yeah.
Not popular.
I know. What I've got written here is genre-aware Arts and then goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is kind of fun in his characterization in that he does treat everyone like a he says he teaches 9th grade, doesn't he? So that's year 9, so that's
I think it's a
14,
bit
15.
old. I think they're like a year up or something.
Oh, I thought they were the same.
Because there's like kindergarten and preschool and then year 1. So you get like reception and then year 1. I think
No, but nursery.
I don't know. I think 9th grade is like 14.
Teenage children, basically.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
He talks to them all as if they're like 14, 15.
Yeah, in a class that he's teaching, you know, and I do like that. I just don't like that he's so angry all the time. I'm like,
He
just calm
makes me
down.
laugh. I think he's funny. Because then it's the way he's like going through on all this rant and then he just turns around, they've got the box and he just goes, what are you doing?
I find it hard to sympathise with him because I'm like, he's just not very likeable.
He's not very likeable, but I'm also like, I'm so on his side with what he's saying. Because I'm like, he is justifiably pissed off.
Is he?
I think so.
Because he's not one of the cool kids.
But like also because it's like, if it's like a genuine resources thing, then that's upsetting. And it's also like that he's the one who has the knowledge.
Yeah, and they're not using
and they're not
him.
listening to him. And like the way they like, obviously he said like, whoa, I don't want to go in there. And Jack was like, we'll just wait out here then. But then it's like they found the dynamite and then they just went, I think we should carry it out. And Joel's like, yeah, me too. And then they carry it. It's like, go ask him.
Yeah.
Be like, we found it, what should we do with it? You know?
Yeah.
Because the whole reason he's come with them is because
of the dynamite.
he knows what to do with the dynamite.
But does he?
But I mean, does he? I don't know.
He gives us all of this kind of lore, doesn't he, about it's old and it's going to have sweat nitroglycerin, and it's like, as soon as he stops being useful for the plot, he immediately explodes.
Yeah, it's very much like we say, you know, he's introduced to be killed.
Yeah.
But it's just that it happens a couple episodes later.
Yeah.
So it's not quite a red shirt. It's like the red shirt was given lines, essentially. This is like if you watch an episode of Star Trek and then suddenly the red shirt starts talking about like his wife and kids and then you're like, oh.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Like he gives you the chance to sympathise with the random extra who gets killed.
They do that in one episode of Star Trek.
Do they?
The episode starts with Kirk marrying 2 of the crew members because, you know, he's the captain of the ship, so he does the marriages. And then the marriage ceremony gets interrupted because they're under attack. And they're like, oh no, what do we do? And then like there's one little scene where like the wife-to-be is like, you know, nothing's gonna stop, not even aliens are gonna stop me, babe. I'm gonna marry you one day soon. Or something, I don't know. It's a cute scene. And then he gets sent down on the landing party and gets killed.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things, just like they all have lives. And you get the little reminder of Scott as well in this one.
Yeah.
Because it's like we didn't get that with Scott and Steve. And then like Sawyer was talking about like the other fucking woman. Oh no.
Tracy or someone, who cares?
Something. And then Walt being like, that's Steve, Scott's dead. And it's like, yeah, all these extras have lives, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All 40 whatever survivors have all had a life. For all we know, there was a whole Arts flashback episode that we just didn't experience, you know?
No, this is the great thing about having the ensemble cast. It's like everyone has these crazy backstories, you know, that all interlink and everything. But even then, it's like the writers have gone, okay, so our idea was to have this ensemble cast, but we still haven't, you know?
Yeah,
because
there's still
loads
too
of
many
people.
characters.
Yeah.
Because there couldn't have just been like 15 survivors of the plane crash, because then it would be like it would be too obvious that they're the main characters, you know? It'd be too easy to say it's fate that they all survived.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
But the blowing up is crazy.
I remember watching a behind the scenes thing about how they did that explosion.
Yeah,
It's
there
pretty
was
cool.
like shots of them then like, and fall over, and then someone was like throwing a bucket of like
Yeah.
flesh bits. I don't know what it was made from. I don't remember.
Probably rubber or something. I'd
Probably like
imagine.
silicone. Yeah.
But yeah, really kind of like not funny. It isn't funny.
It's like, it's not funny,
a
but it
bit
is funny. Like that moment where Hurley says like, you've got arts on your shoulder. That's funny.
No, but it's also horrible.
it's
isn't it?
horrifying.
It's grim. It's like, oh my god, it's got bits of a person.
It's like, it's one of those, it's like, it's so, it's almost like clowny, but then you're like, no, but that is like a guy who blew up, you know? And that is like an extra who had genuine complaints. Yes, he was genre aware, but also those are like genuine complaints about his life. And then suddenly, and I think that's why Hurley seems to be quite affected by it. Also because he's the one who sat and listened to Arts be like, you guys are the main characters. And he's obviously, you know, you'd be like, am I?
Yeah, and I also get the impression that Hurley maybe wasn't very cool at school.
Yeah.
You know, like he just lives with his mum and has a job in a chicken shop and stuff until he wins the lottery. And it's like, maybe he's a bit like, oh my gosh, am I the popular kid now? Am I horrible?
Cool?
Am I mean to
Am I one of the mean kids?
Yeah, the non-cool kids. Yeah. But I don't know, because, you know, Sawyer's still a twat to him, so I
Yeah.
feel like he would, you know, be giving him a wedgie if he could.
It's a tiered system.
It's a tiered system.
It's a tiered system of popularity. Yeah, but then that, like, Hurley, you know, we talked about, like, fate, are we being punished? And Hurley's like, that happened because I came.
Yeah. Also a really interesting idea, because it's like, if fate is real, is it punishing everyone? Or is it solely focused on Hurley?
Yeah.
Being like, it's fate that Hurley has to come to the island where the numbers are. It's fate that the numbers have cursed him, so that's it. Just bad shit's gonna happen all around you, you know?
Yeah, but that he can never get hurt by it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, he should be carrying the dynamite.
Yes, he should. When you think about it, he absolutely should.
He should be the
carry
one.
all of it.
He should be the one carrying the dynamite, really, but we won't get into that. I don't know why he isn't.
Yeah. Because, yeah, if you're Hurley...
You know that bad things never happen to you, but they always happen to other people. Surely you'd say, I'll carry one.
Yeah. But maybe they wouldn't believe him. Or maybe it's like, it would be tempting fate, you know, like if Hurley had one and Jack had the other...
The other one's bound to go off.
Blow up.
Yeah.
Or something. Or maybe Hurley's just scared, to be quite frank. He's just watched a man explode.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to be carrying the dynamite either,
No.
So I don't blame him.
He's obviously, yeah, very affected by Arts' death, as you say. R.I.P. Arts. Yeah, sad.
Yeah,
sad
you were
times.
here for a short time, you made very little impact.
Yeah.
But you were funny.
The scene where Jack and John are moving the dynamite.
Don't even...
I really like it for many reasons. One is because they have seen a man explode and then they go, right, well, let's get to it. Because Jack goes, hang on a minute, like, are we sure that we should do this? And then John's like, it's the only way. And it's kind of like, yeah, it
kind of is. No, they do kind of have to do it.
But it's so...
It's very
terrifying.
much... It's suddenly like they could all be about to blow up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how has Danielle been able to move it around so safely?
She's just special like that.
Well, the numbers.
The numbers.
She can't get hurt.
She can't get cursed.
Come on, guys. Come on, pay attention. Take notes.
Is he talking to me? I don't know, man. Take notes.
But I really like that scene because it's so tense. Like the big sort of close-ups on both of their faces. You can kind of see the sweat pouring down them, you know. It's like the defusing the bomb scene at the end of a movie, you know, and it's like, you know, John's the one who sort of volunteers to sort of move it and Jack is like wrapping it up in the wet t-shirt and stuff. And I love the bit where he goes, you ever play Operation? I always used to get caught in the funny bone. Bzzzt. And he makes Jack jump.
No! Don't piss me off, old man.
No, it's great.
Nightmare. He's such a dick. It's a life or death situation. Don't be messing around.
But isn't that great that he does, though?
No!
It's like really entertaining to watch, you know? It's like, oh my god, John, you're so crazy!
Can't
Oh my
take her anywhere.
Can't take her anywhere. She's so goofy.
No.
Yeah.
I'd be so fucking pissed off if I was there for that. I'd be like, John, a man just died.
I know.
Can you take anything seriously? You think everything a fucking game?
He is a bit like that dog in that scene. He
Life's
does a
not
big
all sunshine
goofy
and
grin
rainbows.
afterwards. Yeah, but I just think it's great. And I also like the kind of reference to, we had the big mousetrap reference before,
Yeah.
and now we've got
Operation.
the operation. I'm like, yeah, I love
I mean,
this.
we know he's a board games guy.
He's a board game
We know that about him
guy.
because we've watched him playing, like, whatever it was, Risk.
Yeah, I think it was more
Colonel
like
Locke.
a kind of Warhammer kind of. Maybe it was Risk, but I had the feeling that it was like
A
they had
multi-session RPG.
multi-session
Yeah.
RPG. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It's a multi-session RPG, but it's like a modern World War One. It's not like World of Warcraft or like Magic the Gathering. He's like magic or whatever. But like if I was on the island, I'd just be so sick of him. I'd be like, fucking come on, John.
It's so funny because the amount of times that you say, if I was on the island, I believe in the magic instantly.
Yeah, but
Why
I'm
would
also
you not
taking
be
things seriously.
Vibing with John.
No.
Would you want to open the hatch?
That's a good question, actually. I think I would. I think I would want to open the hatch because I'd just be like, but what's down there? Like, I think it would kind of drive me crazy not knowing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that it's there. Do you know what I mean? I felt like I couldn't not open
But
it.
I probably want to, like, keep digging. I'd be like, keep going, try and find out how big it is.
Excavate
Like,
it.
when John says, oh, there's so obviously another door, I'd be like, well, let's find this
Let's
door
find
then.
that door. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not go get dynamite. I mean, if they'd just done all that, if they just cast a search radius to try and find the other door,
Yeah.
Arts would still be alive.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point, you know? But he's like, no, dynamite now. We're blowing it up.
And I'm like, okay. The thing is it's just like, John is the kind of guy...
You know, there's that one clip in Futurama where they go, like, can't we just use a bunch of helicopters? You know, actually, that would be easier. And then Bender goes, too late, this is more fun. And then
Yeah. That's essentially John. Too late, this is more fun. Like, the thing about John is he's just like, he is the kind of history nerd who really likes World War II. And I am the kind of history nerd who enjoys, like, early modern theatre. And
We
I
are not
think
the same.
you would look and you would go, oh, you guys both like history, you could talk about that. And I go, no, we can't.
I see. Okay,
You know?
I understand the analogy.
You understand my metaphor? I'd be like, I like the magic of the island in like everything's mystical and there's like fairies in the jungle. And he's like, my destiny is to open this hatch because I'm the main character. I'd be like, wind your neck in.
I'm the main character.
First of all, I'm the main character, so jot that down.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, well, why are you so certain that this is like, I feel like I would annoy him so much that he'd be forced to tell me about the wheelchair thing. Because I'd be like, why are you so convinced that you're the main character here? Like, why are
Yeah.
you so convinced that you're the one who has the destiny and not any of the rest of us? It could be any of us. And I would bug him about it so much that he'd be like, okay, fine. The island gave me the ability to walk. Happy? And I'd be like, no.
You wouldn't be happy.
I would be like, no. You know what the island also did? You know what the island didn't do? Kill Boone. You did that.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. In this scenario, he's still killing Boone. Are you not there? You're Boone in this scenario, surely. You're there at the hatch with him, being like, so what's the truth? What's the truth, John?
If I was Boone in this, I'd be like, am I fuck climbing up that cliff?
You wouldn't climb up the cliff.
No, I'd be like, I'm gonna go get the others.
You're thinking about it too rationally. I know that if you were there in the moment, you would be swept up in it all.
But also, I can't keep a secret. So I
you
would
would
be
have
like,
told other people about
I
the
would be
hatch.
coming back. Well, you
I
can't
think
tell me.
we said this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're brother and sister, and it was like, he can't tell Shannon. It's like, you would have told me immediately.
I'd be like, you're never gonna fucking guess what John found. Because I would be like Boone. I'd be very much like Boone. Like, I'd be wanting to be involved, but I would not be very useful.
Yeah.
And so I would probably take on a sort of Boone-like role in the narrative. But I'd come back and I'd be like, you're never gonna guess what we found. I'd be like taking you to go. I'd be like, fuck John, come look at it.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool? I'd be
Absolutely.
telling people. And then like, And then, yeah, we'd find the plane and I'd be like, I'm not climbing up there. You can't walk, let's go back.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a certain logic of stop the delirium. But would you believe his dream?
I would believe the dream. I don't know what would he be dreaming about if it was me?
Ooh.
Is the question. What would he have to be dreaming about to convince me?
It would flash to this setup with us having the podcast.
It cuts to me going, John, don't piss me off. I'd be saying, don't piss me off, old man. Don't piss me off, old man. Don't piss me off, old man.
You're past genre aware. You're meta.
Yeah.
You've travelled back in time.
I'm doing asides to the audience.
Yeah, you're looking
I
to
can
the
see the camera.
You can see the camera, absolutely.
That's my magic power on the island. I can see the camera.
Yeah.
And every time John says something mystical, I look at the camera and like roll my eyes. I'm like,
you can hear Michael Giacchino's musical score.
yeah.
You're like, is that a bit of the fuselage?
Randomly in the middle of the scene, I'm like, what do you mean this one's called Booner Roll? Everyone's like, shush, so he's making a speech.
I didn't know Boone very well.
He's yelling that loud because he's trying to talk over me.
He's talking over you.
Humming the musical score.
Spooner. It's cool. Am I going? Is it
Can
just
anyone
me?
else hear music?
Is this thing on? Is the podcast mic? Is this thing on?
I just like keep bringing it into shot. John's like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Care to give us your thoughts? Oh my god, Dad's come home from work. We're still yapping. Fuck me. Okay. I genuinely thought that said 4 hours for a second, then I absolutely shit my pants.
Can you imagine if this was the episode that broke 4 hours? Not in translation, not like any of the crazy big ones.
Not fucking last week. This week.
Yeah, the thing is like, when you look at John as like a viewer, as like it's all fake and it's not happening, it's like he's fun and he's mystical. But it's like, as soon as you start to look at it from the perspective of like, imagine if they're real people, John is so annoying.
But so many of them are.
They are. No, a lot of them are.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. But I think like it's something that Lost does really well, is make them all feel like very much like real people, you know?
What does Lost love to do?
Humanize a villain, let's go. Like, it loves to give people loads of layers. It loves to make their like blurred lines with like morals. It loves to give you loads of depth to characters. So it feels very real to watch. And so I get caught up in it's real. And I'm like, if it's real, John is such a nightmare. But it's like when you start looking at it as like it's not real.
Yeah.
John is much more fun.
Yeah, I think that's
like, I think
probably...
I struggle to look at it as something that's not really happening.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that's probably the biggest difference between our perceptions, especially of him in this scene. Because if I was there, oh my god, I would physically attack him.
I would jump over the dynamite to physically attack him. It would blow up and kill both of us.
Yeah. But I think the way that it's constructed, the televisography.
No, it is done
it's
well.
Really
I will admit it is, but
and
it's
just... like it's just so... He's so silly goofy. He's just a goofy girl. We can't take him anywhere. So then we get like the idea of having the 6 sticks of dynamite, 3 and 3, 2, what is it? 2 to open the hinge, 1 to be safe. And Jack goes, to be safe?
Yeah.
Love that bit. I also love when Jack sattles in when he goes, you like to play games, John? You like to play games?
This is what I mean.
You
This
like
is
to
what I'd be
play
like.
games? Is Boone a pawn in your game?
You trying to play with us, John?
Yeah. It's great. Love it. And so they have this idea to split them up in case one of them blows up, which is insane when you're watching it because it's like super tense. It's all got that music in the background, hasn't it? It's like doo doo, doo doo.
Yeah, because it's also like that's so smart, and you wouldn't think that. And it's like, obviously they're now living in this world where one of them just blew up, and so now they have to be like, well, it's very possible another one of us is going to blow up. It's
terrifying, and they're trekking through these like insane terrains with fucking dynamite on their backs, you know. I'm just like, oh my god.
And they talked, Hurley was like, oh, if anyone sees anything, like a security system.
It's so funny.
Yeah. What the fuck are they going to do if that happens?
Yeah. No plan.
I mean, I guess they blow it up with them.
I guess.
Saves everyone the trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, take one for the team. I guess.
But it's not great.
No.
But the short straws thing, I think, is an interesting solution.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this, actually, because Kate volunteers to carry some of it, and Jack's like, no, it's giving Charlie, I have to protect you energy. But then she goes, I need to do this. What's she referring to there?
Maybe because everyone now knows she's a criminal, so no one trusts her?
But they're not going to know that she carried the dynamite. They're going to come back like, Kate the hero! Everyone, Kate, she did it! She stepped up to the plate! Woo!
Yeah, I don't know, really.
Yeah, it confused me. She just seemed really adamant. She was like, I need to do this, and I didn't know why.
Suddenly she's like, this is fate.
I don't think it's a fate thing.
Or like a something I have to do.
Yeah. It felt like a kind of, she's got personal stakes in this, but I don't really know
it reminds
why.
me a little bit of what the marshal said about the plane, about how he said, like, she thinks she needs to have it as a reminder for what she's done.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't really know how it carries over.
Why does she join the dynamite squad?
She doesn't want to say goodbye to Sawyer.
She doesn't want to say goodbye.
Well, also she wants to come with them to get the dynamite. She wants to help, but also it's like because she doesn't want to be there when the raft leaves, because she doesn't want to have to say goodbye to Sawyer / everyone.
Yeah, because she's actually got no stakes in the hatch. Has she even seen the hatch? Maybe not.
I think I don't think so.
It's only John and Boone, then they show Saeed, then they show Jack, then they show Rousseau and Hurley.
Yeah, Kate isn't with them in that scene.
No.
Because that's why Hurley goes to get the dynamite, because he's there when they show him the hatch. But I guess Hurley goes off and tells everyone, doesn't he? So that's how Kate knows what they're doing. And so does Ars. Yeah.
So I don't know. Please, if you know what Kate's on
You're
about,
aware.
if you know what the fuck Kate's on about, drop us a comment, because genuinely I'm quite clueless in this one.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. Maybe we'll find out in part 3.
Maybe? Question mark? I don't know.
I really don't know.
I genuinely don't remember. But yeah, I really want to talk about this final scene of the episode. So I think it's a really fun one, because obviously it's also tense, right? And you're like absolutely like your butt is clenched, like you're on the edge of your seat, it's nail biting, it's like it's so intense, and they're like
slowly putting the backpacks on each other, and it's like it could just blow up at that moment.
Yeah.
And then they could all die.
Yeah. No, literally. And then there's that bird. That bird comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh my god, I just shit my pants.
Yeah, and the way they're like, we need to stagger it so that if one blows up, it doesn't kill everyone. And it's like...
Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
So scary.
It's so scary. And yet we get this great scene between Hurley and John, where Hurley says, so what do you think's down there? And then John goes, what do you think's down there? And he makes some predictions. I wrote a few of them down. He says...
TV
dinners, socks. He says lots of TVs... And Twinkies for dessert.
For after the TV dinners.
Yeah, because Twinkies survive
the apocalypse, famously.
Yeah.
They have like endless shelf life.
So clearly he's like goofing a little bit, but he's also thinking about genuinely what could be down there, I think.
Yeah, because I think like that's quite reasonable. It's like a food store.
Maybe.
It's giving like a kind of war bunker, isn't it? It's giving like... You go down there when the bombs start falling, and there's like a,
lots of tins of peaches.
A chemical toilet and some tins of peaches.
Yeah. But he's also talking about things that he misses, right? So like socks. It's like, I miss wearing socks.
What do you want to be down there? Twinkies and socks and a TV.
Yeah. No. So I think it's quite nice. Also, like, kind of important, because you're then going down the path, ooh, what do I think's down there?
Yeah. So I feel like at this point, I never really considered what's going to happen when they open it.
I'm just like, open it, yeah.
You're like, what's down there? But then it's like, it's not until Jack's like, we're going to hide everyone down there, that I actually went, oh yeah, what is in there?
Yeah, no, same.
Same.
Yeah, because I think I would be on board with opening the hatch, but not really on board with Jack's plan to hide everyone down there.
Yeah, I don't
make
think
any
that's
sense
a good
to
idea.
Me. But I want to know what's in there, so I'll go along with it. Which is kind of what John's doing, isn't it?
Yeah. He's like, I don't like your plan, but like at the end of the day, it gets the hatch open.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants.
It's a means to an end.
So look, we're on the same side for the first time since the plane crash. So like, let's just go with it.
Let's just have fun. But then he goes, no, seriously, what do you think is down there? And John says... hope.
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box. We talked about this, didn't we? And I think that's really fun that they've got like an explicit reference to it.
Yeah.
And it's also really important for John and his like destiny.
I don't know what you want me to do. Once he opens it, he'll find his path again. And...
he'll find something. It's what he's really latching onto it. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of pinning all of his hopes on the
opening the hatch. On the once they open the hatch, everything will be alright again.
Yeah. You know, he'll find out why he's on the island.
What his purpose is, supposedly.
Yeah. And that's her hopeful thing? I don't know. But it's really fun to think about. And I was like, yeah, I like the Pandora's box analogy. Also, whilst we were talking today, I can't remember what it was that said it's that we said that prompted the thought, but I thought about the telltale heart.
Yeah.
And how it's like under the ground.
The heart beating
like,
underground.
Thumping on it, you know, and everything. And I was like, you know, there's so many like... I feel like it's a kind of common trope, you know, like the underground.
Something's under the floor.
Yeah. And we don't know what it is, but obviously John's the only person that knows about the light coming on.
Yeah, he's not told anyone about that. No more lies.
Because that's kind of what we all are latching onto as well. It's definitely what he's latched onto.
Yeah.
And I think as viewers, we're all going, the light came on though, so there must be something down there.
So there's something down there. It's not just an empty metal tube, you know? There is something down there. Or someone, or something in the sense of, like, I don't know, an animal or something.
Motion sensor.
Animal that knows how to turn on lights.
Yeah. It's him.
It's Feathers. Feathers McGraw is down there.
It's his lair.
It would be, actually. If you had to get me to describe where I think Feathers McGraw's lair would be, that's pretty...
I think there is a kind... Doesn't he have something underneath the zoo? I feel like there's something
he has
in the new movie.
like a tunnel or something.
There's like a big... Oh no, he has like a big, like, submarine. Maybe? All the gnomes are like working in it, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't remember. We watched it on Christmas after, like, eating Christmas dinner and we were all kind of tired. I don't really remember the film that well.
But then the episode kind of ends really abruptly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a very weird ending.
It just says to be continued on the screen, which it never has done before.
Yeah, it's that. That was what threw me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if the episode had just ended and it had just been like, doof, and then Lost came up, I'd be like, okay, well, that's where it ends. The fact that it's to be continued...
I was like, huh?
Bit weird. Although we were saying, we think when this first aired, episodes 24 and 25... were aired together.
They might have been 1 2-parter that was like 2 hours long instead of an hour each.
So I think that to be continued was probably like stay for the ad break.
Yeah,
it's
or
gonna
maybe
carry on.
added in for the DVD, possibly.
Yeah.
We don't know. But we're going to be treating it on this podcast as 2 separate episodes.
Yes.
Because, God, imagine if we had to then now talk about a whole other hour of TV.
You would be here. We would be here for 4 hours.
We would. Because also that episode's a great one.
Because so much goes on.
And it's the season finale, so obviously loads of shit's gonna go down.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of the to be continued. I was like...
No, it felt
what are you
weird.
doing?
It felt like an abrupt ending. I felt like last episode had a really nice resolution. Because it was like, all this stuff's happening. They're on a mission to get the dynamite. Like, shit's going down, there's the black smoke, but also it was like the raft took off, and that was like a nice ending.
Yeah.
This episode felt like it didn't really end.
Yeah.
It just kind of was like, and all the plot lines have been furthered in the last 45 minutes, and now...
Just hard cut.
We're just stopping.
Yeah.
Come back in a week.
Yeah.
And obviously that makes sense if they were aired together, because it's like, that's like if you paused an episode in the middle and gone, well, it didn't end very well, did it?
Yeah.
You know, but like, also, it is a bit strange.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you, because I'm assuming like most of the people listening to this won't have watched it when it came out.
Yeah.
Then you might also be confused.
I think that's why, though.
This is our theory.
But yeah, we will be discussing Exorcist Part 3 next week.
We will indeed.
We're not about to launch into that.
Launch the raft.
Much like the raft. We are not about to launch. One thing actually I did notice about the raft that was quite nice is Jin's sort of use of English.
Yeah?
Came in a little bit there.
Did it?
He was yelling rudder.
Ah, fun.
Over and over again. I was like, he knows that one.
He knows that one.
He was like, rudder. And then he was like saying, like, he said like Michael Sawyer, and it was like clearly, and then he got the rudder, and it was clearly like Michael get Sawyer out of the water, I'll get the rudder. But he was just like using their names because obviously those are words he knows.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's quite fun. He's like made it to a little bit of communication with them, and they clearly work, you know, the way they just kind of work together in the crisis, even though they like that fact that that's happening with Michael and Jin when at the beginning they hate each other so much.
Yeah.
And now they're like, they had this like unspoken, they like, you know, helped get Sawyer out of the water together. I was like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget that Sawyer's the one who, like, handcuffed Jin to the plane wreckage when they had the fight. So, you know, there's been animosity with Sawyer as well, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they're all coming together.
And the way Sawyer jumps in to get the rudder, it's very much a sort of selfless act from Sawyer, which is very rare to see. He's finally abandoned the every man for himself thing.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
For now.
For now, at least. Literally the only other thing I have written down is that in the flashback scene, Michael had no beard, and it really threw me off.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that he didn't have a beard before.
He kind of looks weird without a beard, I think.
Yeah, he looks, it suits him. It really suits him much better.
It does.
I
I noticed Charlie's in this episode as well. Charlie's got like a full beard now.
Yeah.
I don't think he had that before.
No, it's grown.
And I don't think it suits him. I think he looks better without a beard.
It looks good with like some, but it's a bit long at the minute.
It's a bit long at the minute, so if you could just sort that out.
Just like get some clippers out, Charlie, please. Yeah. I didn't look in Charlie's flashback if he had his shaves, his side shaves
too
again.
mesmerised by our face.
Too entranced by the beautiful acting of your motivation is you're a heroin addict. I don't even know if she has a name. She doesn't have a name, I don't think. I think she's just heroin addict.
Heroin addict.
It's kind of crazy, but it's also kind of not crazy.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's like all the crazy stuff has kind of happened last episode.
Yeah, they threw all the lore in at once. And then this has basically been like the aftermath.
Yeah, I've just had the most wankery idea for a metaphor.
Oh god, here we go.
It's like last episode pulled all the triggers, right, on the plots that they'd set up. And then this episode is just like the bullets travelling. They've not hit their target yet.
Okay,
and then episode 3 is the bullets hitting their targets.
Okay, I'm on board with that. I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest.
Like, all that's happened this episode, I feel, is that all the separate plots have just been furthered. You know?
Yeah, so
the main big thing is, obviously, Baby's been kidnapped.
Baby's been kidnapped. That is pretty big.
That's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
That's pretty big.
It's pretty big. And Claire's little flash of memory. That's
Yes.
pretty big. Art's dying. It's pretty big. But mostly,
yeah, it kind of feels like, especially because the ending is a bit abrupt, because next part is crazy.
But I guess that's inevitable when you have a 3-part finale.
Yeah, I find often with trilogies, number 2 is the weakest.
You find often.
I find often with
trilogies.
Like,
number 2 is the
like
weakest.
book trilogies and stuff. Often the second one is like the weakest because it's kind of just, there's no big setup at the start and there's no big resolution at the end because those happen in 1 and 3. So it kind of, you kind of come out of it going, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any trilogies, really.
My first thought was Star Wars, but I don't remember the films that well.
This is the thing, I don't know enough about Star Wars to get into that. I don't remember it. Yeah. And Lord of the Rings as well. I mean, the first Lord of the Rings movie is like all exposition, isn't it?
It's basically all set up.
Yeah. So I actually think 2 is quite good because they actually start on the journey.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings is so crazy. Yeah. I find it's either the second one is either the weakest or it's the best. Because like with, like, for example, Shadow and Bone is one of my favourite book series. I personally think the second one is the best of the 3. But I know that's quite an unpopular opinion.
Right.
But I think it does a really good job of not feeling like it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Each book kind of has its own narrative. But I think 1 and 3 almost link together into an overarching more than the second one. The second one feels a little bit more standalone to me. And I like that. And I think that like, it kind of has its own plot line, so you don't feel like dissatisfied by the ending. underwhelming as an episode, which is kind of crazy given what happens in it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Like, I do still think it is quite good.
I do still think it's a good episode.
But, you know, I mean...
Right as I said that, I looked down and my eyes locked onto the Toy Story trilogy on the DVDs.
Ooh!
I mean, 3's the best one.
3... Yeah, 2 is kind of
2
the
is the
rogue
weakest.
one. Yeah. That is so true, actually, because you've got the introduction of Jessie, who's a great character.
And Bullseye,
Yeah.
who's cute. But like the whole like Woody as a collectible, it kind of feels like a nothing. It kind of feels like a and so what plot line. But then again, Despicable Me, 2's the best.
3 is shite.
3 sucks.
But then it's not a trilogy, is it? Because there's 4.
There is 4. That's true.
There's 4 Toy Stories actually.
There
but we
is
don't
4
talk about
Toy Stories. But the 4th, this is the thing, is the trilogy's all like Kung Fu Panda. There's a 4th of that. We've never even watched it.
Oh my god!
But Kung Fu
Is that
Panda
out?
2 is the best one by far.
Yeah, it is. I like 1, to be fair.
I like 1. I like 1. But 2 is great.
Yeah, I do think Toy Story 3 is the best.
But the thing about it's almost like actually, Toy Story is kind of like it's 2 movies. And then the 3rd one came quite a lot later.
Yes.
And then the 4th one came way later.
And then
than
it's
that.
just like, hey, can we squeeze any more money out of this dying corpse? Do you know what I mean? Can we beat the dead horse?
Can we beat the dead horse?
Even further. We already did. We already thought we beat it to death. And then we went, hang on a minute, did it just twitch? Let's go.
Because it's like 3 did really well. So they were obviously like, let's revive it again.
Yeah.
And 4's not good.
4 is terrible. And they did that with Despicable Me as well.
Yeah. Although
And with
4
Kung Fu
was
Panda.
good.
No.
I enjoyed 4. 2 is the best, then 1, then 4, then 3. But I did enjoy 4.
I agree, but I think there's a gulf that needs
There
to be
is.
recognised
Yeah.
within that.
I would give like 2 is like a 10 out of 10. 1 is like an 8 out of 10. And then 4 is like a 5 out of 10. And 3 is like a
Lower.
2 out of 10.
Lower for 4. It was shite. What was all of that bullshit with the French guy? Who cares?
He's the villain!
Who cares?
Maxime Lemar.
Literally, who cares?
He's a bug guy. Don't talk to me. I've never talked about my love of Minions on this podcast. I really like Minions.
This is a little quirk of Velvet's that we've not done.
I went to see Despicable Me 4 with I took all of my friends. There were 7 of us, and I own a Minion onesie, and I went in the Minion onesie, and I have some great pictures of me right after the film ended where I have the most ridiculous grin on my face. And it was like genuinely, took up an entire row in the cinema, and I was so excited.
This is why they don't invite you to things. Well, I think we should end it there. It's come full circle, you know. We went on a tangent at the end, we went on a tangent at the beginning. It's been a tangential episode. Thank you very much for sticking with us, you know, throughout all of that.
You've learned a lot about me.
You've learnt a lot, I'm sure. It's been an informative and educational experience.
Yeah, I would put it that way.
So, you know,
we will see you guys next week.
We will see
for
you next
Exodus
week.
Part 3. We're very excited.
We are indeed.
And like, thank you for making it this far with us. We're nearly at the end of the series.
No, gosh, it's so exciting because it's like these episodes are so exciting in themselves, and it's also really cool for us because we're kind of coming to a milestone with the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been really nice to you know,
be here with all of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, follow us on all the social medias. Follow me on all the social medias. 30th of May is my stand-up show at the York Theatre Royal in the studio. Ariel Hebditch, Skeleton Out of the Closet. If you go to yorktheatreroyal.co.uk. Shit, I looked it up from last week because I knew I didn't know it. And I looked it up and I was like, I'll remember that. Haven't remembered it. It's either .co.uk or .org. For tickets, it's going to be super fun. It's going to be very silly. We're going to have a great old time. Yeah, follow Spruce Moose Comedy. We're doing fun stuff as well. And we're doing a show in Edinburgh this year at the Fringe.
As discussed last week, check the description for all of our social medias. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Tumblr, and our usernames are in the description. But if you search Lost All Caps will probably come
Will
up.
come up.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And looking forward to next week.
We'll see you next week.
It's gonna be great. See you then.